Benjamin Franklin is said to have written the following: "But in this world, nothing can be said to be certain except death and taxes." We all know the certainty of death, so it only stands to reason that we should prepare for its coming inevitability. Research suggests that estate planning is critical, and by understanding the components of estate planning, you will be able to appropriately develop an estate plan that will honor your wishes and ensure your assets are distributed as you intended. First, I'd like to explain the main components of an estate plan and then describe how estate planning will ensure that your wishes are honored and your assets are distributed as you've intended. As you can see on this chart, there are 5 documents listed. These are the basic components of an estate plan: the basic will, a living or revocable trust, the power of attorney, a healthcare proxy or directive, and a living will. According to Victor Nagai in his 2015 Back to the Basics of Estate Planning article, he describes a last will and testament as a legal document that allows you to control how you want your assets distributed. You should choose someone to be your executor who is organized and has a business sense, not just because they're a family member. If you have minor children, this document will also appoint a guardian for them. He also describes the living or revocable trust as a document used to protect your privacy and the privacy of your family, as well as to avoid probate and probate expenses. Having a trust and moving all of your assets, or as many of them as possible, into the name of that trust will ensure a smooth transition from you to your family. Deborah Jacobs, in a 2010 article, Estate Planning on the Cheap, describes a power of attorney as a document that will allow a person you designate to make decisions on your behalf in the event that you become incapacitated in some way, whether through sickness or illness. You should be sure that this is a trusted friend or family member. She also describes a healthcare directive as being similar to a power of attorney, but that this legal document will appoint someone to make medical decisions for you when you are unable to do so. A living will is a document used to list your preferences for end-of-life treatment instead of leaving all of those decisions to the person that you named in your healthcare directive. Secondly, I'd like to talk about how estate planning will ensure that your wishes are honored and assets are distributed as you've intended. A good way to start the estate planning process is to follow the 3 W's. According to Ben Levinson in 2007 article, "Good estate planning can ease heirs' pain." Those 3 W's are what you have, where you want it to go, and who you want to oversee the process. It's recommended that you make a list of all your assets, such as bank accounts, insurance policies, investments, properties, and personal belongings. Then you need to decide where you want those to go. Make sure that the beneficiaries on your accounts are kept current. It may or may not be necessary to list who gets every little thing. You know your family, and may be best to leave it on paper. The third, who you want to oversee the process. You'll need to choose an executor who is dependable and honest after you've gone, and who will carry out the details of your will. This is critical according to Mr. Levinson. Dawn Batterini, in an article that she wrote in 2015, "Who Should Be Your Executor," states the 4 key characteristics to look for in a potential executor. Those are honesty, organization, communication, and financial responsibility. In the Washington State Bar Association pamphlet printed in 2014, it states that your executor will have many duties. They will be the one to gather inventory, protect your assets, have them valued if necessary, pay outstanding debts that you may have or that may arise in your estate, collect any income for the estate, file tax returns in a timely manner, transfer title of assets to the proper beneficiary as you've requested, or in a fair and equitable manner, distribute all other assets. that you've not specifically mentioned in your will, and they're responsible for filing any and all legal documents with the courts. Having a living will, healthcare directive, and durable financial power of attorney will ensure that your wishes are honored prior to death with regards to your medical preferences and financial needs in the event that you become incapacitated, according to Mr. Nagai in his 2015 article entitled Back to the Basics of Estate Planning. So again, research does suggest that estate planning is critical, and by understanding these components of an estate plan, you'll be able to appropriately develop an estate plan that will honor your wishes and ensure your assets are distributed as you intended. We discussed the main points or the main components of an estate plan, and we also discussed how to ensure your wishes are honored and assets are distributed as intended by having an estate plan. So by taking a little time and effort now and putting a plan on paper, later on, down the road, someone you trust will be able to follow your guidelines and ensure that your wishes are honored. Your family will know how to make financial and medical decisions for you should the need arise, and your legacy will be passed down to your future generations just as you intended. Because we know that death is certain, we can certainly create a plan, an estate plan for it. Thank you.